good morning, good afternoon, or good evening from wherever you are. Welcome to a new masterclass with Fede Tanuscio, our guest coach for today again. And the topic of today's talk is going to be the low zonal block. So, Fede, let's get this show on the road. What are we going to talk to you about today?
Yeah, certainly. So we're gonna talk about first of all, hello to you and hello to everyone. Today we're gonna talk about the low zonal block. We were talking off the record 1 minute ago with Ernest about that,
Yeah.
and how that system creates dilemmas, in the hockey, because some people hate and some
Mm.
people love it. So it's a very dilemma system about the people who like offensive and more open games and people who really like to defend it. In
Yeah.
my way, I agree with Ernest. I really love it. If you play well, it's very, very difficult to get solutions.
Hmm.
Okay, it was the scenario that India plays against England at the Olympics when 10 players they were playing low. It was difficult to find solutions. For
Hmm.
me, the master class was what Agantuaz did in the final of the National this year against Blumendal was a master class of low on a block. They played amazing that
Yeah.
system. So it's a very interesting topic. I think it's a new tendency coming in the hockey. And then why that system is coming as well. It was coming when they start or they changed the rules when they start to put the flicks into the circle. So there, the teams they must find solutions how to play against that kind of situations. And I think if you don't get it wrong, at the Germans who start to play it in the beginning, and then little by little everybody start to copy and try to adapt to their defensive system. But until today I think it's a new tendency, and then I think if the rules are not changing, I think we'll stay for longer.
Yeah.
So if you let me, Ernest, I will jump on directly in the presentation and then we can start directly if you wish. So we'll share the
Bring
screen quickly.
bring on the presentation.
Okay, perfect. I put that, so
Let me
just one
put
second.
that on the
there
right
there we can
spot
see.
for you. 1 second. And yeah, if you can just push the play button so that it becomes a presentation.
It's fine.
I'm seeing the screen of the power of the keynote itself
Ah, okay,
and not the
okay, okay, okay.
presentation.
Let me check. I'm start to share. 1 second. Stop to share, and I share again. 1 second. Let me try again. Okay. So share
Again,
screen.
people, when we're doing things live, sometimes it's a little bit of a puzzle to get the things right. Huh? Let me
So
put that
there.
one there.
See, we can see. So there is fine. Oh, or it's moving.
Still seeing the same screen, but that's okay. I can manage with this. You go with it, and I'll fix it.
Okay,
Low
perfect.
zonal.
So low sonar block defending. So as we were talking about, it's the topic of today. It's a topic I really love it to discuss about that because I'm very fan of the defensive side. And as I mentioned before, if you play well, it's quite difficult to get in and find solutions, of course. So the topic of today, of the idea of today, is just develop it. We're gonna talk about how to play it pro and less points, how to defend it, and all the things concerning the low zonal block. So if we start, so we're gonna start with the basic. Okay, so first of all, the intro, okay, is a definition of the low zonal block. So basic definition: the low zonal block is a defensive strategy where the team is organized in your own quarter, defending in zones with a low compact shape. Okay, the main goal of this system is to reduce the space, protect the scoring area, and force the opponent teams into errors and recover the ball in safety areas. That's the main topic of the main points of the low zonal block. So playing a low system, run less, don't have the space for the other team, and incite the other team to have or make mistakes when they have the ball. Okay. So talking about the introduction, let's move on and let's talk about the structures. Okay. So here we're gonna talk about
Fede,
the
Fede, we're
yeah,
still
sure.
seeing we're still seeing. Yeah, now okay. Now we're seeing the change of screen, but we're still seeing your first
So I
slides.
think it's a bit on delay.
Ah, that could be.
Okay. So let me
Okay, but
check
now we're seeing
again.
your field.
Now it's fine. The problem is when I do full screen, I think. There you can see the square coming.
Yes.
Okay, great. So the idea of the low pressure is to have play in that part of the pitch. So in the last quarter, or let's say in the three quarter of our zone. Okay. So the standard situations, they have four defenders. Okay, so we'll change if it's a back three or back four. Of course, yes. But here I will start to playing. I was to playing against back four situation, standard situations. Okay, then we have three strikers in a different shape with the central striker lower. Okay, the idea of that is to have frontal press to the central defenders. That's what we want. That okay. Then we have four midfielders. Okay, and that's the players of the other team. And the idea of the midfielders is the side midfielders be in charge of the right or left back. Okay, the central midfielders, the job of them is intercept the balls. Okay, that's what they have to do. Concern also with the central back lower, the central striker lower. And at the back, we have a zonal system with the three defenders, okay, against three strikers. And what we want is to have the balls in that red zone. That's something, the main goal for us, okay? So, of course, Ernest, do you see well now the field with the picture?
I'm still seeing the low press structure slide.
Okay, because I'm here now. I think now is better like that.
Yes.
Okay, I will play like that. I think it's a delayed maybe, so I will try to play in that way. Okay, so
Okay.
when I do full screen, so with a back four, okay, so we were talking about the back four situation. So it's a standard situation. So we have the three strikers, okay, in that way. As we mentioned before, the idea of this striker is putting pressure on the side, on the central defenders. That central striker is there to intercept if they play the balls, okay. Then we have the four midfielders, one, two, three, four, and also side midfielders putting pressure on the side backs, and those midfielders, the goal is intercept. Okay, at the back, the three strikers, the three defenders, sorry, in diamond. Okay, so if we change now, let me check now. It's fine, perfect. So it was a full screen. If we change now, okay, so what is the difference to play against a back three situation? Okay, that's what I think Lagantois managed amazing against Bloomendal. They were changing shapes and readapting the system in every single situation. And it's not easy to coordinate all those players, and all the players know what to do in every position. So the decision making of that team was amazing, that shell, talking about the defensive part. So if you see well, back three, the strikers have been changed, becoming a standard striker's position with a central striker to put pressure and cover the vertical balls. Okay, side striker putting press on the side defenders, and then the four at the back as well. Normally, it's an overload on that side, so it's the right back. So that's why the side midfielder is a bit lower. But in general, that are the main topics: how to play and defend it. The things, of course, back three and back four. It's how you said, is different. Okay, but almost never the teams play directly in back three or back four. So the back three they created with overload, that was the scenario, and then how to adapt the structure of the, especially the first line defensive. Okay, so here we were talking about the structures and situations, and now we're gonna start to talk about principles. Okay, so the principles are very simple for me. Are four very important principles. Okay, I will try to share. Let me check if he's followed that. So it's amazing, perfect. So the first principle is compactness. Okay, so what do we want to be compactness or a compactness team? It's the lines, the defense and midfielders stay close together, so they don't have enough space. So very compact. Okay, why we said that? In case the ball is going to the circle, okay, a shot or a crush ball to the D, everybody is closer to intercept and correct positions in the chaos. So I said that the mistake error or the mistake point will be less bigger than if you are bigger you are under pressure, much more possibilities you have to really have not successful pressure. But when you are compact and closer, it's much more easier to correct if something was wrong or not. Okay. A second principle really important for me, and it's a zonal system and not a man-to-man. Okay, even in the D, that's very important. I will talk later, and I will show a few clips about that. How important is to stay in zonal and don't be man-to-man. Of course, players are close. We have responsibilities that is different, but it's not fixed responsibility man-to-man. If you do man-to-man, it's very easy to manipulate the system, and that's something that don't really want to have that. Okay. The third principle, and for me, this is the most important one, is the patient. Okay, wait for the opponents make mistakes. That's something. If you are patient, that at one point the other team will get frustrated. They're gonna start to make mistakes or wrong passes, wrong decision makings, and then after you can recover the ball. And the fourth principle for me is a constant coverage between the lines. Okay, always backups behind the first line defensive or the second line defensive. Okay, so we will talk later now with clips. So I think it will be easier to you to see what I'm talking or what I'm trying to say about the principles. Okay, and then let's see. Okay, I will play the first clip. Just before to start, I would like to make a little check if it's playing well or in time. So it's perfect. Great. So it's running well. Great. So the first one is compactness. Okay, so we're gonna talk about compactness. So if you see well here, we have the team very low. Okay, so and everybody close, and then it's very very difficult to find solutions on that way. Okay, so that's what I say compactness. Everybody low and closer. Okay, and the most important thing is protect the center. So the pressure should be from inside to outside. So we protect the center. When the ball is going to the side backs, the pressure should be diagonal. But also we need a big help for the help side to reduce the space and get less spaces. Okay, so that's what I talk about compactness. Second point is about zonal and not man to man. So here we can see very clear. So the striker will impress. Everybody is in zonal with responsibilities, okay? But almost no one is man to man playing, okay? Third point is patient, okay? So if you see, it's again low zonal block, and how important is to be patient. So here is a clip, but before the clip, there was like a 4, 5 times moving the ball side to side, no options, okay? So here we see back three, they changed the structure, moving side to side, and at one point, tack, they will do mistakes, and then after they can play forward. Okay. For principle, cover lines. That for me is one of the most important principles. Okay. So here we can see, okay, there is one player, but always behind you should have one to cover lines. That's the job of the mid, the central mid. I will play again. Okay, so if you see a striker there, and the job of those players is always Constantin blocking the line, be backups, okay, to intercept the balls. That's what we really, really wanted. Remember in the beginning we were talking about the jobs and responsibilities of each player. So we said side mids normally in charge of the side backs, okay. So central mids are in charge to intercept, okay, and that's a here example what you have to do, okay. So let's talk about roles and responsibilities per lines. Okay, so I think it's an easy way if we can see role and responsibilities. Of course, before to talk or jump in on this, uh, I'm not analyzing La Gantoise because I wasn't there in the dressing room. So the only person who can talk about this is the coach. It's a great coach, is Pascal Keenan. So I'm just taking some ideas and interpret what I see in those clips. Okay. So, and also the principles, what I think is in the low zonal block. Okay. So here we have the defenders. What do we need from the defenders is a control depth and mobility. We will talk later about that, and I will show a few examples about how important is the mobility of the defenders. Okay, especially when the ball is